the new era of business.
You should have seen him in Las Vegas. He was phenomenal. It was great. So real quick, I'm going to tell you a story. How many people remember when Hillary Clinton was attacking us? She called us deplorables, right? Well, that's a speech I kind of did on Las Vegas. Now you know what they call us? Weird. Weird. So in this conversation I had with some of our Democratic friends the other night, I said what's really weird is that you want to vote for somebody who lied to us about Joe Biden for years and said he's fine, there's no problem, he's wonderful, that there's not a problem with the issue. You want to vote for someone for president who called himself the border czar, right? Remember that? March of 2021? 10 million illegal aliens come in? Yeah. How many of the people that are voting for these Democrats can afford what's going on right now? How many of you can afford the cost of living? Gas prices are going up. We see every day what's happening when it comes time and time for us to take care of our children. They complain, but they're the ones that start the fire. They're the ones that keep electing the same people all over again that do one nothing but keep us down. That has ended. We are working class people. This is where it starts, right here. Are there any Hollywood actors in the audience? Any multi-billionaires? Please don't be shy. Raise your hand. That's exactly my point. She represents the other side. That group represents the other side, the haves. We are the working men and women that make this country move. We fight. We send our children to war. We make sure we come together. That is what it's about. We talked about JD Vance. Yes, the man. Here's a man who has upbringing like many of us. You fight. You have the brakes go against you from time to time. He did not give up. He pushed back. He moved forward. He got an education. Joined the Marines. Went to the war. I'm here for the Marines. The Marines in the house. He is the American success story. He is the one that can deliver to the people. He is the one that didn't give up and didn't look and say, oh, help me, you know, the brakes are against me. No, he fought like everyone in this room to make it that we have a better America as we move forward. So when he comes up, you make sure you give him a strong Nevada welcome, like I know you always do. How about that? Ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. God bless Nevada.
the egregious lies about JD Vance saying that he's anti-women. Women in the crowd, let me hear you real quick. Do you think JD's anti-woman? Let me tell you, I don't think Joe Biden or Kamala Harris gets that type of welcome, all right? But the irony about the anti-woman attack is it's coming from the same party that can't define a woman. The same party that's putting men in women's sports, that is trying to erase motherhood, calling us chest feeders and birthing persons. Last time I checked, I'm not a chest feeder. How about you guys? Now, as a new mom, this horrifies me. I gave birth to my son about a year ago. And as a new mom, especially being a working mom like that, I had to go back to work, kind of have an important job in Congress. But did you know that female members of Congress can't vote if they're out? And so I put forward legislation to actually change that. And did you know that the Democrats killed that? They killed women being able to vote, recovering from maternity. And let me say, it was Hakeem Jeffries told them, don't support that. When I put forward IVF legislation to help parents that are actually struggling with infertility, and as a mom who took a very long time to get pregnant, I can tell you that that subject is near and dear to me. And I'm sure that there's some people here that have also been through that. Democrats blocked it. The party that's supposed to empower women is working against women. Now, they try to say that JD's the problem, but the fact is that he's a threat. He is a threat to the narrative and to the attempt of the left to destroy the American dream, and we're not going to let that happen. You see, they're attempting to distract Americans from the fact that Kamala Harris was indeed the border czar. They don't want to talk about what she's done to this country, so let me tell you about a little story. I actually ran into Kamala Harris at the airport. I was flying back in through Texas. And at the time, I was actually one of the biggest conservative Hispanic activists in the country, but I was working to raise awareness about what was happening at the border with trafficking. Okay, and I went to ask her questions because at the time she was running for president. So I walk up to her, I'm ready with my question, and she goes, would you like a selfie? No, Kamala, I don't want a selfie. I asked her questions, you know what she did? She ran away. She ran away from me asking questions about a very important topic, an important topic that's actually hurting many people on both sides of the border. So real quick, I think people here have a lot of common sense. Do you think that it's acceptable that under Kamala Harris's watch, 85,000 children have gone missing under the custody of the federal government? Do you think that it's acceptable that she's ignored the rape, trafficking, and torture of Hispanic women and children? Do you think that it's okay that she's turned a blind eye to the fentanyl that's destroying our communities, whether you're black, white, Hispanic, rich or poor? It is ruining our country. And do you think that it is okay that she's turned a blind eye to our kids going off to college, young women, to mothers being raped and tortured by people that are coming here illegally, breaking the law, and are known criminals? You see, as a minority woman, she had a seat at the table and she did nothing, which is the worst thing that you could possibly do. You see, JD Vance will be a solution when President Trump gets elected, and I say when because according to Kamala Harris's polling, it's not looking good for her team. When JD Vance is put in charge, I have a feeling that he knows exactly what that's like to see what happens when drugs impact your family. He has an incredibly beautiful family. If I might just shout out his wife who's backstage, an incredible woman, accomplished attorney, total rock star. Let's get up for Usha. But I think one of the most important things is he is a Marine Corps veteran, and what I can tell you is as a veteran myself, you learn something. It's called total and complete accountability and responsibility in the military, and when you see a problem, we fix it. Thank you to all of our vets who are currently here right now. Thank you. That is the true leadership we need in the White House, and that's exactly why we need to have JD as the next vice president and Trump as our next 47th president of the United States. You see, JD Vance won't hide what's happening at the border like Kamala Harris hid evidence when she incarcerated innocent men. They don't want to talk about that, do they? So I have a few questions for you, Reno. Do we want a corrupt prosecutor in the White House? Who's going to be the 47th President of the United States? And who's going to be our next VP? Who is it going to be? That's what I thought. Let's put your hands together for JD Vance. Thanks, guys.
landed at the airport, I got in a cab. And of course, I like to ask the cab drivers questions. And I said, what do you think about that person running for president from the west side of the state of California? And he says, can't trust politicians. And I said, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. And I said, what about President Trump? He said, I trust that guy. We all trust him too, and we need And who has been at the top of that government? Kamala Harris. Our borders are. My friends, just look at San Francisco. In my heart, I believe that San Francisco is one of the most beautiful cities in the world, and I say that with all heart. But look what has happened to it. When you drive from the Bay Bridge over to the city, if you don't believe me, drive over there. My wife was robbed 2 years ago, and it really didn't matter. They don't care, because California has one of the worst governments in the country, and who's at the top? Kamala Harris, our borders are. She put forward Proposition 47, and now I'm hearing rumors that maybe she was for it and she wasn't against it. Proposition 47 was written by, the title and summary, by Kamala Harris, our Attorney General. And let me tell you what Proposition 47 did. It legalized theft in California. You can steal $950 in the great state of California and nothing will happen to you. And guess what? If you don't get caught, go to the next store and get $950 and you're gonna be okay. That's California. That's the California we have.
Campaigning continues for both Democratic and
Cash.
Feel good that week. She banned gun shows at fairgrounds. That made her feel good. You know, but it kept going. She kept going. She's never stopped. And I'm passionate about this because I can speak about this every single day in California and it wouldn't matter. But I'm here today because it matters in Nevada. San Francisco spent $2.3 million to house convicted illegal immigrants in juvenile hall because Kamala Harris did not want to call immigration. San Francisco started flying criminals, convicted illegal immigrants, flying them to their homeland for $19,000 a flight. $19,000 bucks. Guess what? The taxpayers found out she stopped doing it, but she couldn't call immigration to deport these people. Then the San Francisco Probation Department decided, you know what? We're going to rent group homes, and we're going to put convicted immigrants in group homes because we're not going to call immigration. My friends, that's Kamala Harris. And it even gets better. It even gets better. In July of 2008, 8 convicted illegal immigrants walked out of a safe home in Riverside County. And they were caught in Riverside County. The congressman down there at the time was Jerry Lewis. And they were caught in Riverside County. The congressman down there at the time was Jerry Lewis. And he said, hey, stop sending convicted illegal immigrants to my country. She is a sanctuary city. She didn't even want to house them anymore. But she wouldn't call immigration. That's who she is. I'm getting there. My friends, prosecutor. We're hearing it from the media now. All of a sudden, she's not vice president. She's prosecutor Kamala Harris. That's what they're calling her. She has done every power to avoid sending convicted illegal immigrants out of our country to immigration. And that's why Joe Biden appointed her as the border czar. She left the floodgates open. 10 to 12 million people that we don't know who they are have come into our country. But yet border czar. And now she's a prosecutor. You know what I say? Prosecute her. you haven't been to the border. She responds, I haven't been to Europe. She doesn't care. She doesn't care. You know, but I'm going to share this with you. She showed a lot of strength. After all this, she had a press conference, and you know what she said to the people that were coming to our country? She said, don't come. Don't come. You think some MS-13 gangster from the Central America is not going to come because don't come. She's weak. She's failed us. And she's very liberal and not good for America. You know, she wants a wall around her place where she lives, but she doesn't want a wall for our country. She doesn't care. Zero accountability. Only when it's President Donald Trump. You know, I followed all that Alvin Bragg stuff. And I'm a business owner. And you have some accountant who gets an expense, gets the check and puts it in the wrong column. And what does Kamala Harris do in the Democrats? Let's get him. Let's prosecute him. But yet she lets 10 to 12 million people in our country, we don't know who the hell they are, prosecute her. My friends, do you want a San Francisco person in the White House? I don't know how to say this to you, but I said this. I was elected for 16 years in office, and I always used to say that this was an important election. And all people that are in office say it's an important election. My friends, this is the most important election of our lifetime. I'm going to ask you to please don't let Kamala Harris, the border czar, do to your state what she did to mine. She failed us, she's weak, and she's dangerously liberal. You know, the media back there, I don't want to talk too much about this, but I wrote this morning. You know, President Trump has been saying that Kamala destroyed San Francisco. And the media is saying, oh, he's being too hard. He's being too hard. Mr. President, you're being too nice. Way too nice. Kamala Harris first destroyed Oakland. In-N-Out Burger is in California, has only closed one store because of crime. Only one in their history. In Oakland, Kamala's home city, because they were worried about their folks going and all the crime that we go on. She destroyed San Francisco, President Trump's right, destroyed Los Angeles. She moved to Los Angeles, homelessness everywhere. The state of California, what happened? A lot of Californians are here. I was back there for a couple minutes. I met so many Californians. She destroyed our border. Just put this in your mind. 10 to 12 million people crossing the border. We don't know who they are. We don't know who they are. They're here. And she's okay with it. I need to apologize to Senator Vance, because I was supposed to introduce him, and I'm going to now. And I spent a lot of my time talking about the horrible things that Kamala did. But now I have the great pleasure to introduce a great man, a patriot, someone who served our country, a family man with 3 beautiful children and a beautiful wife. And you know, I've heard him say this, but I'm going to add a little bit more. He says, I don't forget where I come from. Well, I'm going to add to that. JD Vance, he's a man who'll never forget who put him in office. And that's the people of Ohio, and soon it'll be the people of Nevada. Senator Vance has never forgotten whose money government spends. It's not his money, it's your money. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please join me in welcoming Senator JD Vance and his beautiful wife, Usha.
But in 97 days, starting right here in Reno, we are going to take back this country and elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States, once again. Now, think, my friends, about it, all that's happened just in the past month. Donald Trump wiped the floor with Joe Biden on the debate stage, exposed a massive cover-up of the president's mental incapacity, and saved America from 4 more years of Joe Biden's presidency. Not bad. And during that same time, Trump accepted the Republican Party's nomination, held the most successful convention in history. He even took a bullet the most for the country that he loves and didn't miss a single day of work. That's pretty damn good. Just imagine what he'll do with 4 more years in the White House. Now, we have some friends of ours here from the press in the back. Hello. Oh, it's okay. They're not all bad, just most of them. But our friends of the press, after covering Joe Biden's incompetence for 3.5 years, the media is at it again, this time gaslighting us on Kamala Harris's radical record. They want to portray her as some kind of reasonable moderate. The same media that told us for 3.5 years that Joe Biden, who didn't know where he was, that Joe Biden was Albert Einstein, is now trying to tell us that Kamala Harris is Abraham Lincoln. We all know the media loves a good fact check, so let's get started. Kamala Harris was rated as the most liberal senator in the entire United States during her tenure. That is not a reasonable moderate. That is a crazy record. She is dangerously liberal, and she will never be the President of the United States because we're not going to let her. Now, we're not going to be fooled by the media's lies any longer, and there's nothing they can do about the fact that Kamala Harris, she owns every single one of the Biden administration's failure over the last 4 years. Biden didn't know what he was doing, so clearly it was his vice president who was running the show. It was her as border czar, and don't let the media lie to you, they did make her the border czar. She unleashed the worst border crisis in American history on her watch. In 3.5 years, more than 10 million illegal aliens have invaded our country. She told everyone that's exactly what she wanted to do, to decriminalize illegal immigration, tear down the immigration and customs enforcement system, open up the floodgates, and give every illegal alien free health care. She wanted all of you, America's citizens, to pay the bill. Then on Kamala's first day in office, they went to work, not for you, but for them. They suspended deportations. They stopped building the wall. They reinstated catch and release. That's how every state became a border state. They just released them all over our country. Sometimes they give them first-class tickets wherever they need to go, and first-class hotel accommodations paid for by the very people in this room. And if that wasn't bad enough, they proposed amnesty for millions of illegal aliens. Kamala Harris might as well have sent a personal invitation to millions of migrants around the world, including some very violent and very bad people. Now, the chief of Border Patrol was appointed over a year ago, but border czar Kamala Harris hasn't spoken a single word to him, not once. What kind of a border czar is that? And I served my friends in the United States Marine Corps. My brothers and I would have called that a dereliction of duty. Kamala Harris has got to start doing her job. Now, the best part of this is she has the nerve to question mine and Donald Trump's loyalty to this country. Did you see that? Well, here's what President Trump and I believe about loyalty. Loyalty to this country is closing the border, not opening it up. Loyalty is safeguarding Medicare for American citizens, not bankrupting it by giving it to illegal aliens. Loyalty is protecting Laken Riley, not allowing an illegal immigrant to come here and take her life. Loyalty is protecting our children from the poisonous fentanyl, not inviting Mexican drug cartels to deal it on our playgrounds. Loyalty is serving in the United States Marine Corps, something I did. Loyalty is taking a bullet for this country, something Donald Trump did. If Kamala Harris wants to talk about loyalty, then she should look in the mirror. And it gets worse. This administration under Border Czar Harris handed out 3 million work permits to illegal aliens who lied and claimed asylum in our country. Now, they turn a blind eye to people who will steal American jobs and undercut American wages, and I guarantee it, if she becomes the President of the United States, she won't stop until every single illegal immigrant that she let in becomes a voter. Handing over control of your country to people who shouldn't even be here. Now, I have a different message. If you are in this country illegally, start packing your bags right now, because Donald Trump is coming back. It is time to put the interests of American citizens first. It is so simple. American leaders ought to care for the interests of the people of this nation. Isn't that common sense? Now, we're grateful to be joined by some Republican leaders who represent that basic idea that American leadership should protect the interests of this country. You already heard, I believe, from Florida Congresswoman Luna. Where is she? She's a superstar. There she is. Great. We've got the great Nevada GOP chairman, Mike McDonald. Where are you, Mike? There you are. Now, this is a tough name to pronounce, but I'm going to try to do it. RNC National Committeeman Jim DeGraffenreid. Jim, I got it? There's Jim. Okay, Jim's over here. How'd I do on the name, Jim? Thumbs up? Great. 2 thumbs up. And we're joined by numerous members of the State Senate and State Assembly. Now, I'm also honored to be here with Sam Brown, a great American patriot, and the next senator from the state of Nevada. Sam, there he is. Come on up, Sam. Can we open up? There we go.
Senator Vance, welcome to Northern Nevada. This, and to the rest of the country, this is where the White House will be won and the Senate will be taken back. Nevada, I'm fired up to be here because I know what it means to serve this country. I know what it means to sacrifice for this country. Senator Vance knows what it means to serve and to sacrifice for this country. And President Donald J. Trump knows what it means to serve and to sacrifice for this country. We are the battleground of the nation. We have such a role to play, and I know that many of you are tired. You are tired of the policies of Biden. You are tired of the policies of Harris. You are tired of senators that ignore you, do not understand our struggles, and will do whatever the Democrats in D.C. or New York want them to do. But I tell you this, in my darkest day, in the day that I thought I was going to give up my life for this nation, there was 4 simple words that took me from a place of having lost all hope to a conviction that not only would I live, but there would be purpose in that suffering. And it was this: sir, I've got you. There is life and there is power in those words. And so I do not take this lightly when I say that President Trump has got us. JD Vance has got us. Nevada, I've got you. And guess what, Northern Nevada? We've got them.
Wow. We love Sam Brown, don't we? Now, for decades, politicians have sold out this country. That's why we need to get people like Sam Brown in there to replace him, right? Now, when multinational corporations called politician offices for a generation, those politicians traded American jobs for campaign cash. Now, they'd never admit it, of course. That's not what they say. They'd brag about trade deals, and they'd promise cheap products. They call it globalization, and for so many, that's exactly what it meant. American jobs went to some other part of the globe instead of staying here, right here in Nevada and other states. Now, if it's up to Kamala Harris, it's going to keep happening. She voted to preserve NAFTA, the very trade deal that sent American jobs to Mexico and turned American dreams into nightmares. And now Kamala Harris is asking for a promotion, and I think we should say, Kamala Harris, you're fired. No promotion. Now, I want the American dream as a goal for our children. We don't hear people talk enough about the American dream anymore, but 4 years ago you did. And 4 years from now, those dreams are going to become a reality because we're going to bring it back. So let me tell you what we believe in this room, and President Trump and I believe on this ticket. We believe that 1 million cheap knockoff toasters aren't worth the price of a single American manufacturing job. We believe that we're going to rebuild factories and rebuild the American dream and stamp more and more products with those beautiful words, made in the USA. Now, I have seen the consequences. Can you hear me? Great. I've been told this is an American-made microphone, so hopefully we're going to be in good shape. Now, I have seen the consequences of electing politicians like Kamala Harris in my own hometown, because more often than not, it's the people the Bible calls the least of these that suffer the most when people like Kamala Harris fail to do their job, when they fail to protect public safety and fail to protect American workers. Now, some of you know my story and some of you don't, but I grew up in a poor family. I was raised by my grandmother. I called her Mamaw. And I've been the beneficiary, I have to say, of a number of strong women in my life, especially my beautiful wife, who you guys saw earlier, aren't we? Now, I would call her up here to come and speak, but then I think I'd have to sleep on the couch tonight, so I'll leave her alone. But I've lived the American dream. Because of those strong women, especially my grandmother, I was able to go enlist in the Marine Corps and go to school and get a good job and become a husband and father and all the things that I've dreamed of. In fact, I'm living it right now, getting to spend this wonderful evening with you fine people. Isn't it great to be here in Nevada? Now, my life worked out because I had a strong grandmother, and I'll tell you a story. When I enlisted in the Marine Corps, I was 18 years old, and Mamaw was very proud of me, but this was back in 2003. She was a little frustrated that I was enlisted in the Marines in a time of war, so she didn't want me to do it. And when the recruiter came to our house to talk to her and explain to her what boot camp would look like, he put one foot on her porch, and she said, "If you take another step, I'll blow that foot off." That's the kind of strong woman that made me who I am. But that amazing, incredible, undefeatable American spirit, I believe, is on the ballot this November. If we don't stop making bad decisions, if we don't stop opening our country to illegal immigrants and fentanyl, if we don't stop Kamala Harris, we are going to lose the American dream. That's why we are going to stop it. We're going to elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. Let's just talk about the contrast between not just these two visions, but 4 years of Kamala Harris's governance and 4 years of Donald Trump's. Kamala Harris's vision is open American borders and closed American factories. It's bigger government that tells you how to live your life and smaller family bank accounts. It's war and chaos all over the world while American citizens pray for peace. Kamala Harris would be the most anti-American energy president that we have ever had. She's pledged to ban fracking. It's on video. You can go look it up. She's vowed to end offshore drilling. She co-sponsored the Green New scam. So when you fill up your tank at the gas station, maybe you should send a bill to Kamala Harris. But make no mistake, the affordability crisis that Kamala Harris created is destroying the middle class in this country. It is the biggest concern American families have. President Trump, by contrast, built the strongest economy in history, and the formula was pure common sense. He delivered a giant tax cut for hardworking families, and we're going to make it permanent. He rewarded American companies for creating jobs in America, and he punished companies for shipping jobs overseas. Again, common sense. He unleashed the spirit of entrepreneurship in this country, and he inspired us all to believe once again in the basic promise of America, that if we work hard and play by the rules, no dream is out of the reach of our children. Now, Kamala Harris and the Democrats have broken that foundational promise. They've penalized people for working hard and playing by the rules. That's why so many Americans no longer believe that their children will be better off than they are. And that's a tragedy. If you're out there today and you're trying to make ends meet, if you're scraping by instead of thriving, if your hope is dwindling as quickly as your bank account, I have got good news. On November, help is on the way. We need President Donald J. Trump because we need a president who's going to make this country and her citizens wealthy again. We need a president who is going to make basic life affordable again. Bring those groceries down. We need a president who's going to tell our great American energy workers, let's drill, baby, drill. We got plenty of it. Let's get it out of the ground. Now, Kamala Harris, she's the exact opposite. She wants to end immigration and customs enforcement. She wants to turn our cities into sanctuaries for criminal aliens and then defund the police so there's no one left to stop them. But the countdown clock is ticking. In 6 months, we're going to re-elect Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And when we do, we're going to launch the largest deportation program in American history. If you came here illegally, you got to go back. We're going to end catch and release. We're going to ban sanctuary cities, and we will build the wall. And for the great service workers of Nevada, we are going to end taxes on tips. No more IRS bureaucrats going after our waiters and our bartenders. Now, people forget that when rioters looted and burned down American cities, especially Minneapolis, in 2020, Kamala Harris was raising money to bail these guys out of jail. The criminals that she helped free included an alleged knife murderer, a convicted rapist, and a domestic abuser who later shot and killed a man. And now, she wants to end cash bail. So if you assault a police officer, you can be back on the street the next day. Now here's the crazy part. On top of all of that, she wants to confiscate firearms from law-abiding citizens. In other words, she wants to leave you completely defenseless, more dangerous criminals on the streets, more illegal aliens in your communities, fewer cops on patrol, and no guns to protect yourselves. If Kamala Harris wins, we are going to be sitting ducks in this country. And the crime rate that's gone up shows that as reality. But hear me loud and clear, we will never let this happen. Not in Nevada, not in anywhere else. Every home in this country is a castle, and you ought to be able to defend it against anyone who threatens you and your family. And speaking of defense, in this room, we know the truth. Our police are heroes, and we're always going to have their back. A vote for Donald Trump is a vote to back the blue. Never forget it. And together, we are going to save this country for American citizens of every race, color, and creed, and it starts with strength. We need a strong president, strong borders, strong families, a strong economy, and a strong president whose name is Donald J. Trump. We don't like the weakness. We don't like the vulnerability. that Kamala Harris has exposed this nation to. The entire world knows that she helped cover up Joe Biden's mental incapacity and decline over the last 3.5 years. It's the biggest scandal, it may be in the history of this country. For 3.5 years, our country has been saddled with a president who cannot do the job. Now, we all see it, and we all watched it, and it's hard not to feel sad for him, but you got to feel sadder for the country that has suffered under that leadership. But America's adversaries have been licking their chops, because imagine if we saw it for 3.5 years in public, how bad was it in private? And every single Democrat in leadership, including Kamala Harris, they covered up for Biden's incompetence. And if you're too dumb to realize that Biden couldn't do the job, or more likely, if you're too dishonest to admit it, you are not fit to be commander-in-chief. And after 14 million Democrats voted for Joe Biden in the primary, now the Democrat Party bosses believed his poll numbers were too bad, and they're going to install Kamala Harris as their new nominee, a person who has not received a single vote for president. And the media calls it a coronation. I think we ought to call it a coup. In America, we don't crown our leaders, we vote for them. And remember, in the 2020 primary, Kamala Harris dropped out before the first vote was cast. She was so unpopular that she polled in the low single digits even among Democrats her entire campaign. She didn't get in the top 3 in her home state of California. And the reason is Democrat voters know that the American people would never elect a San Francisco liberal so far outside the mainstream. And I think we ought to give the Democrats credit where it's due. The American people will never elect a wacky, out-of-touch liberal like Kamala Harris. We're just not going to do it. $500,000 kids, this is the toll of her leadership. 500,000 kids have been trafficked by the cartels because of her policies, and she calls us disloyal. Hundreds of thousands of our citizens are dead from fentanyl overdoses because of her policies. Hardworking Americans cannot afford groceries because of her policies. And my question to the American people is, do you want a president who is disloyal to this country, or do you want somebody who is willing to take a bullet for it? I think we want the guy who is willing to take a bullet for it. So let me ask you, do we want open borders? Do we want to bankrupt Medicare by giving it to illegal aliens? Do we want to defund the police? Do you want to ban fracking? So do we want a dangerous liberal like Kamala Harris? I'd say hell no. Instead, in just a few months, Nevada is going to lead a great American restoration of American strength, American prosperity, and American sanity. It's going to start right here. We're going to elect Donald Trump. God bless you all. God bless America. And God bless the great state of Nevada. We love you all.